After immigrating from the United Kingdom in the mid-2000s and settling in Rudizem, Bulgaria, Diane and Tony Rowells regularly encountered stray dogs roaming their new town's streets. Still, they couldn't believe it when they learned that their neighbors were abusing them. Unfortunately, the local shelters were no better, so the couple founded the Rudizem Street Dog Rescue to help their canine friends. Since dedicating their lives to saving strays, the couple has seen it all. But even after several years of this grueling work, the Rowellses were still stunned by one dog who seemed beyond saving. When animal rescuers Diane and Tony Rowells found this stray dog on the streets of Rudizem, Bulgaria, it was obvious to them just how desperate she was. Truthfully, she was barely recognizable as a dog by the time they got to her. Immediately, they scooped her up and brought her to the closest veterinarian. Nevertheless, they weren't sure if it was going to do her any good, since she seemed to be on the verge of death. Still, they knew they had to try. This pup's condition, both physical and emotional, was beyond horrible. In fact, when the Rowellses brought her to the vet, even the staff there, who were used to seeing sick dogs, couldn't believe the state she was in. They worried that it was too late. Surprising just about everyone, she proved to be a little fighter. Other dogs in her condition might not have survived, but she endured. Though she could barely stand, she fought through the pain. She wasn't going down easy. Because of this, the rescue team decided to name her Khaleesi, the title given to the character of Daenerys Targaryen from the TV series Game of Thrones. Just like her namesake, Khaleesi the dog also had to overcome some great odds, and her story wasn't over. When they felt she was ready, the rescuers gave Khaleesi her very first bath. However, it was essential that they let the pup rest and eat before they even attempted to bath her. They needed to make sure she wouldn't go into shock. Though she was exceptionally nervous, Khaleesi finally began warming up to her rescuers. Given everything she had been through, one would think that she would have a difficult time accomplishing that. However, it seemed like she was slowly starting to realize that these humans were there to help. Against all odds, Khaleesi started to show signs of improvement. Her appetite picked up and she even began wagging her tail happily anytime her rescuers would speak to her or pet her. She seemed ready to turn the corner. Despite her progress, Khaleesi was still exceptionally reserved, which makes sense for a dog with her history. Perhaps she was wary because she thought that her new life was almost too good to be true. Lucky for her, it was entirely real. Khaleesi's personality began to show as she slowly recovered. She had quite the curiosity, and she started to explore her new world. Her rescuers couldn't believe what they were seeing. This was a total transformation of a dog they had initially thought might not even survive. Khaleesi still had to take many trips to the veterinarian's office. However, she was lavished with so much love during these visits that she didn't seem to mind them at all. It's like she knew they were trying to make her feel better. Because her legs had become weakened and bowed due to lack of food and vital nutrients throughout most of her puppyhood, the poor pooch had to have a cast placed on one leg. She was a good sport about it, though. She was receiving the best care, and she seemed to know that she was destined to get well soon. Though this was one of just many steps on her journey to recovery, Khaleesi was conquering it like a pro. Her fur finally started to grow back too. The veterinarian was initially skeptical that this would happen since the infections in her coat had been so severe. However, it looked like all that love and care was paying off. At last, her transformation began to truly show. All of the hard work of her rescuers and the veterinary team were manifesting in a beautiful little dog. Khaleesi was slowly turning into the pup that she was meant to be before everyone's eyes. Khaleesi's caretakers were so pleased to see her come around. Even though they had interacted with her almost daily, no one could really believe that this was the same dog who showed up at their door, and who was almost too far gone to save. So much work had to be put into helping her, and it was all worth it. Check out that winning smile and those beaming eyes. There was a playful dog hiding underneath that bruised and battered exterior. Her recovery was remarkable to witness. Each day that passed, Khaleesi was living up to her namesake. She was making dramatic strides towards being her real self, and she was never looking back. Khaleesi was feeling the love, and she was showing it back too. She could not stop licking and cuddling all of the people who had worked so hard to save her and give her a second chance. What a sweetheart. Notice how even her eyes changed since she was first rescued? At first, they were the eyes of a haunted and hungry pup. This dog's eyes, though, were full of nothing but love, and her transformation was about to become even more dramatic. It's hard to believe that she is even the same dog that was found on the street. Even her rescuers found it hard to believe that Khaleesi had come from the brink of death and transformed into this amazing and lucky creature who stood before them. Where once she had been so close to losing her life, now she was ready to live one full of love. Khaleesi didn't waste any time expressing that either. She could barely keep herself away from her adoptive mother. What a smile! It was a difficult journey, but Khaleesi and her rescuers were up to the challenge. Obviously, this was one recovery for the ages. How could one dog make such an amazing comeback? This happy and joyful dog is a completely different creature than the frail and ailing animal that was first discovered months earlier. With a combination of hard work, determination, and love, she has risen from the ashes, born anew. It really is hard to believe that you're witnessing the same dog as before. Khaleesi went from being broken down and destitute to looking as good as new. Be sure to consider donating to Radosem Street Dog Rescue to help other dogs just like her.